Story 1. My name's Tara. I'm 29. I lived in a small 2-bedroom rental just outside Lincoln, Nebraska. Kind of a nowhere zone between a soybean field and a gas station. Cheap rent, quiet neighbors. Nothing about it screamed danger. I guess that's what made it worse. I'd moved there after a breakup. Thought I needed space, independence. I'd tell people I liked living alone, and sometimes I even believed it. But some nights, especially the quiet ones, that empty silence would hum a little too loud in my ears. Anyway, this happened last October. It was a Thursday, I think. Or maybe Wednesday night bleeding into Thursday. Doesn't matter. What I remember is I'd had a long shift at the bookstore, came home, microwaved some soup, and fell asleep on the couch watching reruns of some stupid dating show. I woke up around 2:15 a.m., disoriented. The TV was black, lights off, dog asleep at my feet. His name's Oscar. Usually barks if a car door slams too loud outside, but he was knocked out, cold. I got up to pee and grab a glass of water. As I was walking back to the bedroom, I passed the back door. Something caught my eye. The lock. It looked off. Like it wasn't flush with the frame anymore. I squinted at it, rubbed my eyes. The knob was turned maybe a centimeter, just barely, but enough that it felt wrong. I stood there staring at it for a while. You ever do that? Just freeze, like your brain needs a second to catch up to what your eyes are saying. Then I heard a click, soft, mechanical, like metal tapping against metal from somewhere deeper in the house. Oscar didn't react. That scared me more than anything. I grabbed my phone from the coffee table and turned on the flashlight. It flickered once. I cursed and tapped it, and the beam steadied. I moved down the hallway, step by step. Every shadow felt like it was about to move. The kitchen was empty, but I noticed something on the floor. Faint, damp footprints. Not shoes, not socks. Bare. The size of a child's maybe, or a small adult. They led from the back door, past the fridge, toward the basement door. I should have called the police, or someone, anyone. But I just stood there, like an idiot, staring at those wet prints and listening to, I don't know, the sound of my own blood pounding in my ears. The basement door was shut, but not fully latched, just slightly ajar. Oscar finally stirred, walked to the hallway with a low whimper, stopped at the threshold of the basement, and wouldn't move. That's when the smell hit me. It wasn't strong, not yet, but it was weird. Like old potatoes left in the dark too long, or wet drywall. Decay without the rot. I opened the door slowly. It creaked, but not loud. Just that thin kind of creak that scratches your nerves. The light switch didn't work. I clicked it a few times, but nothing. I stood at the top of the stairs, aiming my phone's beam down into the black. The steps looked normal, wooden, dusty, except halfway down, the footprints started again. one after the other, perfect ovals pressed into the dust. No signs of entry or exit, just standing there, frozen in time. I should have stopped. I know that now. But I walked down, gripping the handrail, every step tighter than the last. The smell got worse. Not overwhelming, but sharp. Metallic, maybe. I reached the bottom and panned my light around. The basement was unfinished. Concrete floor, exposed pipes, an old washer-dryer that didn't work. The usual. Except now, there were scratch marks on the far wall. Like someone dragged nails, no, fingers across the concrete. Dozens of lines, deep enough that some flaked the surface. I was backing away when my foot hit something. I looked down and saw a pile of, I don't know, bones, animal bones, I think. Some looked like deer, others maybe raccoon, but they were arranged in circles. Not neat or ritual-like, just chaotic, like someone had been building nests. That's when the flashlight started to flicker again, and I heard something move. Not a creak, not a bump, just a dragging sound. Slow, wet, like something pulling itself across the floor. I panicked, turned around to run up the stairs. Halfway up, I dropped my phone. It clattered down to the concrete and the light went out. I didn't go back for it. I couldn't. My heart was in my throat. I grabbed at the walls, crawling, scraping, just trying to reach the top. When I got the door shut, I shoved a chair under the knob. I remember leaning against it, gasping. Oscar was shaking, ears back, tail tucked so tight he looked like a statue. I tried to call 911. My phone was still down there. I dug around for the landline. I never use it, and finally found it buried under mail. Dialed, rang once, twice, and then silence. Not even a click. The line was dead. I locked every window, every door, sat with Oscar in the bedroom, back against the closet door, shaking until the sun came up. In daylight, everything looked normal. No footprints, no scratches. The basement, empty. No bones, no weird marks, nothing. The furnace was even humming like usual, like I dreamed the whole thing. But I didn't, because that night, it happened again. A knock at the back door. Not loud, just one. Soft, polite. I didn't answer. I just curled up in the corner of the bedroom, held Oscar, and cried. I moved out the next morning, broke my lease, paid the damn fee. Landlord didn't argue, almost like he knew. When I asked if anyone else had complained, he paused, then just said, "That basement's been sealed 3 times. I never went back. But sometimes, even now, I get calls on that dead landline. One ring, no voicemail, just silence. Like something's still waiting for me to come back and open that door." Story 2. My name's Marcus. I'm 32. I've been working as a live-in pet sitter for about a year now. It's not glamorous or anything, but the money's steady, and most of the time the owners leave behind snacks and a stocked fridge. This one house, though, this one job, I can't stop thinking about it. I've written this down and deleted it like 10 times. But maybe if I put it out there, I'll stop checking over my shoulder every time I turn off the lights. It was in the suburbs outside Pittsburgh. Little brick house, one story. Everything about it felt normal. Too normal. The kind of house you forget as soon as you leave it. I was watching a golden retriever named Daisy for a couple who were flying out to visit their daughter. 3 nights, that's it. I'd stayed there before, so I thought I knew what to expect. Walks twice a day, refill the water, keep Daisy calm during storms. The first night was fine. Daisy curled up next to me on the couch while I half-watched YouTube videos and dozed. I went to bed around 11. The second night, that's when it happened. That's the night I can't explain. It was close to midnight. I was dozing on the couch again, Daisy next to me. She suddenly perked up, ears twitching, body rigid. At first, I thought maybe a raccoon or something outside had caught her attention. I muted the TV and listened. Nothing, just the fridge humming and a faint buzzing from the overhead light. Then, Daisy stood up, turned toward the front door, and growled. Not loud, just this low, constant rumble, like she didn't know whether to bark or back up. I got up and looked through the peephole. Nobody. I turned on the porch light. Nothing moved out there. Street was quiet. I cracked the door anyway, looked around. I didn't see anything, but something felt wrong, like the air had weight to it. I closed the door and locked it again, double-checked the deadbolt, flipped the chain. Daisy still wouldn't relax. She just stared at the hallway near the back of the house, the one that leads to the bedrooms and this small closet labeled basement on the floor plan. Except there's no basement. The owners told me it was just storage. I never opened it, no reason to, but now Daisy was fixated on it. She inched toward the hallway, tail down, ears flat. I followed, phone light on, heart kind of jittery. I kept telling myself it was nothing, that maybe a draft got in and stirred something in there. But as I got closer, I noticed something. The doorknob to that closet was rattling. Slightly. Just little shakes, like someone inside was testing it, seeing if it would open. My breath caught. I froze. My first thought wasn't intruder. It was animal. Maybe something had gotten in. But the house was sealed. The windows were shut. Nothing made sense. I said something stupid like, "Hello?" Like I expected a raccoon to answer. The knob stopped moving. I stood there for maybe 10 seconds, unsure what to do. Then Daisy barked. Just once, sharp and loud enough to make me jump. I panicked and reached out, flipped the lock on the closet door, and opened it a crack. The smell hit me immediately. Damp, metallic, almost like moldy iron. I pulled the door open wider, aimed my flashlight down. It was darker than it should have been. Shadows didn't behave right. And there was something in there, sitting. No, kneeling. A man, or what looked like one, thin, pale, wearing clothes that looked a size too small. I couldn't see his face clearly. Just the whites of his eyes reflecting in the light. He wasn't startled. He didn't lunge. He just slowly stood, joints creaking, like it hurt him to move. And he whispered something, low and fast. I couldn't understand it. Not English, not gibberish either. Just wrong. I slammed the door shut, locked it, threw my weight against it. Daisy was barking non-stop now, backing away like she wanted to bolt. I ran to the living room, grabbed my phone, with hands shaking so bad I almost dropped it. I called 911, told them someone was in the house. I think I yelled. I don't even remember the full call. While I waited, the sound started again. Scratching, slow, deliberate, coming from the other side of the door, like nails on wood. I swear I heard him laugh. It wasn't loud, just this weird, breathy giggle, like he was amused by how scared I was. Police showed up 15 minutes later. I let them in, tried to explain. They checked the closet first. Nothing. Just boxes and an old broom. No one. No signs anyone had ever been in there. No footprints. No disturbed dust. Nothing. They searched the rest of the house. Attic, backyard, every closet. All clean. One of them asked if I'd fallen asleep and maybe dreamed it. I didn't have a good answer. I was still shaking. Daisy refused to come near the hallway again. The next morning, I found something. Scratches on the inside of the closet door, not like from boxes shifting. They were vertical, deep, and deliberate. 5 of them, like fingers. There was also something else, a small dark smear at the bottom of the door. It looked like blood or rust. I didn't touch it. I took a photo, sent it to the owners. They didn't reply for a full day. When they did, it was just, "We've had issues before. Don't open that door again." I haven't told anyone else. I left the house that afternoon, didn't even wait for them to come back. I locked everything and left the keys in the mailbox. I haven't gone back. I keep dreaming of that man's eyes, glowing in the dark. I hear scratching sometimes, even in my apartment now. I check the closets twice before I go to sleep. There's no basement, but sometimes I think he's still there, waiting in that darkness, just behind the wood, listening. Story 3. My name's Elena. I'm 27, and I just moved into a modest apartment in downtown Memphis. I work nights as an ophthalmic technician, which keeps my schedule inverted, and I like the quiet, except lately, the silence feels invasive. I haven't told a soul about what happened last week, because I keep replaying it, questioning my memory, and wondering if anyone would believe me. I moved in 6 months ago. Cute 2-bedroom on the 2nd floor. Hardwood floors, brick walls, big windows. I've lived alone before, so this was familiar. But recently, inside it started to feel foreign, like I wasn't alone. It was late, around 11 p.m., and I'd just come in from my walk with my golden. His name's Baxter. I set the leash down, locked the front door behind us, and leaned against it for a second. Something in the hallway felt off, but I told myself it was just my imagination. I fed Baxter, showered, and crawled into bed. My phone alarm was set for 3 a.m. to prep for work. I drifted off. I woke up suddenly. I think my phone blared, but something felt wrong. I sat up. Baxter wasn't on the bed. The room was dark, but I swear I heard footsteps, slow, deliberate, from the living room. My heart started pounding. It wasn't normal floorboards creaking. It was too rhythmic, like someone pacing. I lay still, listening. Then came a whisper, so soft I almost didn't catch it. It sounded like my name. Elena, like someone called from the hallway outside my bedroom. I squeezed the blanket, told myself it was a dream. Baxter barked, sharp and short, not at me, but the hallway. I grabbed my phone, checked the flashlight, and crept out of the bedroom, hand over the knob, ready to bolt. The living room was empty. Couch, TV off, coffee table neat. No sign of anyone. Even Baxter looked confused. I exhaled, shaky, told him it's fine. I flicked on every light, checked windows, locked, bolts secure. I even opened and shut the front door twice, just to be sure. Nothing wrong. Baxter settled at my feet, but I couldn't shake the tension. I texted my brother, told him I was freaked out that night. He asked if I'd been working too much or drinking. I told him to let it go. But I didn't sleep. I sat in the dark, phone light on, scrolling, until I dozed off somewhere near 2 a.m. Around 3:15, I woke again. Sound of dragging, not across the floor, but low, coming from the bedroom closet. I flicked my phone flashlight over. Just jackets, shoes, nothing. Then the door moved. Not wide, just a few inches swung inward. My throat tightened. I crept forward. Baxter behind me. I froze halfway across the floor. Closet door swung again, slower, deliberate. Like every time I moved, it followed me. I thought about calling the police, but my finger froze over the screen. I didn't want to seem hysterical. I reached the door, whispered, "Who's there?" Empty. Then the closet door slammed shut. Baxter barked again and nearly jumped into my arms. My phone died. I stumbled, hit my head on the bed frame, starburst of pain and dizziness. I curled up next to Baxter and didn't move until morning. Sunlight didn't bring relief. I felt raw. I checked the closet. Nothing unusual. I looked at the recording of me entering the apartment from my doorbell camera. It showed me coming home at 10:45 p.m., Baxter trailing. Nothing else. No one entering. That night, I didn't sleep in the apartment. I drove over to my parents', crashed on their couch. Something in me knew I couldn't stay alone. Next day, I texted the landlord about locks. He replied days later, saying hallway doors were all secure. By Friday, I convinced myself maybe I'd imagined things. Stress, lack of sleep. I went back, spent 2 nights, nothing happened. I almost felt silly. Until Tuesday. Tuesday, I worked until 8 p.m. Got home around 9:30. Fed Baxter. I was dozing on the couch around midnight, legs tucked under me. I dozed off. I woke to Baxter staring at the ceiling, his ears stiff. I followed his gaze. The ceiling vent, small, rectangular, mesh cover, was rattling. Light rattling. I frowned, stood up. Baxter growled low. Before I could grab my phone, the cover fell. I looked up and nearly screamed. A man's face, eyes wide, blurred by darkness, peered through the vent. No words, no mask, just eyes straining downward. I backed away, stumbled, grabbed Baxter and his leash, froze in the doorway to the bedroom. The man climbed out, tall, gangly, scuttling down face first. He slipped between the couch and wall, disappeared from my view. I scooped Baxter and ran to the bedroom, slammed the door shut, locked it, put a chair under the knob. Breathing felt impossible. Baxter whined. I dialed 911, breathless, words stumbling out. Someone's in my house. He climbed through the vent. They asked questions, screamed to stay in the bedroom. I heard footsteps upstairs then, sound of someone pacing across the vent. Thud, thud, thud. Then silence. My blood pounded. They told me cops were coming. I backed against the door. Baxter curled at my feet. I heard the closet door open. I squeezed my eyes shut. Door closed. Then the vent sounded again. Soft rattling. Sirens finally. Officers knocked and shouted. I opened the door. They hurried inside. I pointed upstairs. The vent in the living room. They grabbed ladders, pulled covers, searched attic. Everywhere. They found nothing. One officer looked at me kindly. No sign of anyone, he said gently, but we'll keep patrols by tonight. He gave me a card. Call anytime, okay? I thanked him, voice cracking. He left. Later, I checked behind the couch. Nothing. Even cleaned the vent cover and taped it shut. But the atmosphere had changed. Felt heavy. I stayed the night. First night ever alone in 6 months. And heard nothing. I went to work. Yesterday, I texted the landlord again. Told him about the vent climbing. He called a handyman. Said he'd come Friday to inspect venting and attic. Fine. But now I'm sitting here and I haven't slept. I keep glancing at that closet door. And tonight, the closet light, automated sensor, just went on. I'm writing this in my police station's lobby because I can't go home tonight.